Well, folks, good afternoon. We've been asked a few questions since launching this podcast. The simple solution. It's called the simple solution because we believe there is a simple solution to a very, very complicated and complex issue, and that's the issue of the disease of alcoholism, drug addiction, and gambling. And with these three issues, very, very serious issues, a lot of people have a tendency to look in life from a very dark point of view. And unless they get the help and the treatment that they need, a lot of lives are lost if you go behind the statistics. So the question has been asked, what is the simple solution? So before we ask or answer the simple solution, we have to ask a question. And the question is, what is the cost of addiction in Ireland and what is missing in the services? Now, after doing a very basic bit of research, which we already know, but for the sake of the viewers listening to this podcast, we have to make this clear from an Irish point of view. In Ireland, addiction is a major growing public health issue with significant economic and social impact. The Irish government invests approximately 189 million a year in community-based drug services, with overall addictions related spending estimated to exceed 200 to 300 million annually. Now, that's a lot of money to be spent on this disease, but it doesn't seem to get to the root of the problem, and that's where Social Ground Force, this podcast, Aubrey, Melville, and what is the simple solution? How does this money get to the root of the problem? Because it doesn't seem to get there. Know with the people that we are dealing with. The other thing that it states that residential rehabilitation capacity remains limited with ongoing shortages of detox beds, step-down services and long-term recovery supports. Waiting lists are common and in some cases detox takes place at the home or through limited outpatient support rather than the structured inpatient care. Now, as we stated in the last podcast, it's very, very difficult to get anybody assessed for a rehabilitation unit or even hospitalisation because people end up in the A&E ward, the A&E at the hospital, and they could be in there for hours upon hours. And it's very irritating for people round about them when they've got a chronic alcoholic or drug addict who's just looking for some help. And it wouldn't take 10, well, some of them would say, all it would take is 10 minutes to get me sorted out and then I'd be out the door. And that's not necessarily the case either, but in their mind, that's what it is. So they become restless, irritable and discontented. And in some cases, some people leave the hospitals and they don't go back in again and they follow back into their ways, and that in turn leads them to going back to whatever substances it was they were taking. It could end up with them in courts, it could end up with them in the casualty department itself or in prison. So what is this simple solution that we are talking about? And the simple solution, as far as we are concerned, because I've been working in this for the last 21 years in Ireland, 25 years in Ireland, and I've done it before that in Scotland. So I can speak about Scotland as well, based on this as well, because I know that Scotland is riddled with the disease of addiction. There is people, suicide is rampant across in Scotland. There is very, very little help in terms of rehabilitation units or any other assistance for people with addiction issues. So, I mean, both of these countries are under major pressure because of this. So, as we're stating here at the moment, the simple solution, as far as we are concerned, is we are the simple solution. I'm just going to read a few points out for you, just to let you know exactly how this solution, because people are asking us, what is the solution? What is it you're talking about? Well, we are the simple solution. We are not duplicating any other services. We are unique in our concept, and we are at the paramedics of addiction. We're a rapid reaction force and immediate intervention group. We are a stabilisation service until the sufferer is ready to walk on their own walk. And that means immediate assessment of their current situation, immediate basic education in the disease of alcoholism, drug addiction, and gambling. All three of these conditions cause anxiety, stress, depression, and a sense of hopelessness, which in turn can and does in some cases lead to suicide. For the family reassurance, if the family reassurance is required, the family are the forgotten sufferers of the destructive force of addiction. They are left behind. They also suffer from anxiety, stress, depression, and a sense of hopelessness, and they must be guided into their new reality for the sufferers and their family. 5 is the guidance and direction into a pathway forward from a current situation. Sufferers in some cases find themselves in deep emotional crises, especially males. It is vital that they are reassured things will change for the better, and that would be very soon if they follow a certain pathway. And number 6, it is essential that the sufferer gets immediate access to peer support group. The reason behind this is that they they have to know that they are no longer alone, because in the depths of depression and anxiety, you feel that you're the only one that suffers this. You're the only one this is happening to. When in actual fact, that's not the case. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people suffer from this disease. It's vital that they know that there is a door open for them if required, that there will be somebody to talk to when they are at a low ebb in their life. Number 8 is they also applies to the family as the sufferers hidden pain, and in the most cases they can't show it. Families are in a very difficult situation when it comes to this disease. As we've said before, they're the unheard of group. Nobody wants to really know or deal with that sort of side of the situation. Now, there is support services out there in the forms of addiction programs like Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous neither endorse nor oppose any outside causes. Ireland is very fortunate in the fact that they have meetings every day, every night in most towns and cities in the country, and they're a fabulous organisation. I personally am a result of that 12-step recovery program, and that's one of the main things. As a group, as our group is, our we feel that it is up to us to point the individual who's suffering into the best possible route of recovery for them. And that would be, in my opinion, the 12-step recovery program. But certain people don't want to go down that road because they don't understand it. So that's fine. We would adjust to whatever they want to do, as long as they find a way forward that takes them and their families out of the disease of addiction. Now, in 2025, just to put some facts behind this case that we're putting forward as to the simple solution, in 2025 we had 75 service users. And of the 75 service users, we had 107 children involved in that. Now, that's a very tragic situation for people who are trying to deal or trying to cope with life, and especially families, and especially young families, with someone in the family who's got an addiction problem, especially to alcohol and drugs and gambling. So if we have 75, and this is what we're trying to put forward. We deal with Sligo and the surrounding counties in Sligo, but that doesn't limit us to where and who we speak to, because we're being approached by nearly every county in this country, and that includes the north. It's 32 counties in this island, and we've been approached by people in every one of these counties, and we have assisted to the best of our ability, and we've assisted successfully in a lot of cases. So what I'm saying is, this is an idea that I'm throwing out, and it's for politicians, it's for civil servants, it's for anybody that has an interest in this, or any family member that has an interest in this. If social ground force was in every county in Ireland, and let's take the 26 counties, if social ground force was in the 26 counties in Ireland, and each of them had 75 service users, that would be 1,950 people that would have been dealt with away from the mental health services, away from the A&Es and away from the court systems. Now, I'm not saying them people would all get sober and clean at the same time, but what it would do is it would take the pain, the anxiety, and the depression away from them, that they know that there is something there. The other aspect of this, from the social ground force point of view, and the process that I'm trying to put forward here, is when people come into recovery, whether they're young or old, male or female, they're so, for a start, alcoholics and addicts don't have a social life towards the end of their journey because nobody wants to know them. Nobody wants to be associated with them. And anyway, they don't want to be around people. They isolate themselves because the disease of addiction puts you into a position where you isolate yourself. And that creates a mental health issue on its own. And that's where people get lonely, angry, resentful. All of these feelings and emotions comes into them. So one of the other things that we're looking at doing here in Sligo is we're in the process now of setting up some form of social scene. We tried this in the past. We never get the backing. We never get the support. But when somebody gives up this substance, whatever the substance is, and they want to come into a lifetime of recovery, substance-free, mind-altering substance-free, one of the things that people normally say is, how am I going to meet people? How am I going to get in contact with people? Because there's nothing out there for people in recovery. You might get a meeting in the morning, a meeting at night, but what about the other time? How do you socialise? How do you communicate with people, especially men and young men and women and that who, and by the way, which is brilliant news, a lot of young people are coming into recovery. It's an amazing change than from when I walked through the doors 40 years ago. But the fact of the matter is, people are starting to come in because life is very dangerous out there. But where did they go? What did they do? Well, this is where we are in the process of trying to put something together. And we're hopefully in the next few weeks, we're going to open up a wee sort of a club, an entertainment club. It's a place where they can come and sit, have a cup of tea, have a burger or whatever it is, or a cake or a scone, and we're going to try and do some like karaoke nights or comedy clubs or whatever it is, just to have some form of entertainment, just to have something there for people where they can come, they can associate with other people, with like-minded people, where they can talk their problems away. And this is how addiction, alcoholism, drug addiction, and gambling, they're talking diseases, because sufferers sit with this mental, insane mind on their own, and they try to analyse it and they try to calculate how they can get out of it without damage, and it never happens. It can never happen unless they get the proper support. That would be my opinion on it, because I tried every other avenue myself. This disease destroyed everything and anybody I ever came in contact with. From I was a 15-year-old boy, 14, 15-year-old boy with the first love, right up and all the way through my life. All these things, all of them, are happening on a daily basis to people of all ages. So the simple solution for us, and for anybody that comes in contact with us, we know for sure that if you walk through these doors, you want to change your lifestyle, you want to get away from mind-altering substances, you have an open mind, you have a willingness, and you're prepared to do a bit of work on yourself. We have absolutely no hesitation in saying you will succeed. A lot of people come through the doors looking for help with courts, looking for help with marriage guidance, looking for help with all sorts of stuff. But they have to seek help for themselves, because at the end of the day, the individual who suffers from alcoholism, drug addiction, and gambling, they are the problem. They themselves are the problem, but they are also the solution to the problem. And as much as their loved ones want to see them getting better, their work colleagues want to see them getting better, it's not going to happen until they make it happen. They have to make it happen. So If you're a housewife, taking a few drinks more than you should be, or if you're a man that's out too many nights of the week, or you're drinking so much money out the house, or you're planking drink in the house, which I've done myself. Uh, all of these things, it's well known in the 12-step recovery program that when people come into recovery, they start finding bottles, empty bottles, in different places, whether it's inside the house or outside the house or in the farmyards, because that's how the disease took them. But all of that can change. All of that can change if you want a simple solution to the insanity in which you live in. So I hope that answers the question. And if anybody does have any questions for us, put it up and we'll make arrangements and we'll answer some of the questions that you've got. And we plan to do maybe 1 or 2 of these a week just to keep people informed. Any developments that we are going to, hopefully, we're going to have, or any politicians or any civil servants, just remember this podcast isn't for the intellect. Even though I'm a BA honours degree counsellor, I don't do academia. Academia doesn't, but it doesn't belong where the people are when I see them. These people need to be addressed in a manner that's going to be acceptable to them and that they can understand, and that it makes them feel a bit better in the decision that they have made. So when they're dealing with people like myself and the group of people that I work with, we're very down to earth. We're capable of getting people. We are more than capable of getting people over the line when it comes to the disease of addiction. So I hope that answers the question. I hope it helps somebody out there. And if anybody has any questions, then they'll know where to come, because this is the simple solution to a very, very complicated problem. Thank you.